Okay, let's go through some of these variations. So first thing to consider, if you are feeling any pain in the pelvis or low back, if you are feeling like you are leaking urine or stool in the bottom position of the squat, or you are feeling heaviness or bulging in the vaginal opening, those are signs that your body is not ready to progress and we might need to bring you back a little bit. Consider those your yellow lights. Those are your body's signals that you're not managing the pressure of this lift just yet and we may need to scale you back a little bit. If you are not experiencing any of those symptoms, then you can play around with how your body is feeling and figure out your loading and range of motion considerations that are going to work for where you're at in this stage of your postpartum journey. Okay, first variation that we're going to go through. We're going to limit range of motion and impact by doing a hip, no feet power snatch. Kiyomi's going to pick up the bar, bring it into the pelvis. Her feet are already set up for where she would squat or hit the power position to. She's going to dip, drive under. Feet did not move. Impact is no. And she's in a power variation, so she's not going down into the squat, which minimizes some of that pressure feeling potentially early postpartum. Then, next variation, we're gonna increase the range of motion and go into a no feet hang power snatch. She's gonna set it up, bring it up to the pelvis, down to just above the knee. No feet variation, impact is low. Third variation, we're gonna stay in that power and no feet series, and she's gonna go from the floor. Good. In all of these different movement variations, again, we can manipulate breath by changing different bracing strategies. So exhaling the entirety of the lift, or starting to, hold a bell stop at the very beginning and breathe out on the catch. All different ways for us to start turning up or turning down that pressure gauge, depending on what your body is ready for. Okay, now we're gonna go through that series again, but go into full snatch variations. So gonna come back up to the hip. She's gonna stay in the no feet variation, so impact in terms of that change between the second and third pull stays the same, but she's gonna go into a full squat this time. Good. Again, starting to increase her range of motion. No feet variation. She's gonna pick it up, bring it up to the hip. Now she's starting a bit of that forward lean as she brings it to the top of the knee. Full squat. Good. Next one, no feet, full snatch variation. Taking this from the floor. Good. Excellent. Okay, so those are two series where, again, we're in all these no feet variations. The reason why we do that is sometimes this change between the power position and the squat position can put some impact into the pelvic floor that you can potentially not be ready for. So we minimize that impact by using no feet. Okay, now we're gonna go through those range of motion and loading considerations in more impact movements. So we're gonna start moving the feet again. So going into the hip, we're gonna do a now movement with the feet, hip power snatch, again, starting to manipulate that range of motion. Beautiful. She's gonna bring it now down to the hang position, again, starting to move the feet. Beautiful. And finally, optimizing that range of motion, bringing it from the floor. Excellent. Okay, final three in the series is whenever your body is feeling ready to get back into full variations. So now she's going to be moving her feet and going into the full snatch position. We're gonna start from the hip and move it down to the floor. All right, and set it from the hip. Now again, full snatch variation, moving your feet, coming down into that hang position. Plus or minus manipulating breath and exhaling through or holding your breath, depending on what your body is ready for. And then finally, full snatch variation. Beautiful. Good. Okay, so as you're going through your postpartum journey, again, we can manipulate up and down different variables. So you can stay in no feet variations for a couple of months, but start increasing your load tolerance. You can start by moving your impact or your range of motion relatively quickly, but keeping your loading the same. All of these different ways are methods that we can manipulate your program to allow you to get back on the barbell postpartum.